Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Rooted Podcast. This episode, we're going to talk just about turkeys. Turkey season has kicked off down in the southern zone in Florida. We got some buddy of ours that have already been popping some birds. So we are, we are just sitting here ready to rip, waiting for the Tennessee opener. We still got to wait a little bit, but we are excited nonetheless. And we're gonna talk to y'all about kind of the gear that we use for turkey hunting, everything from camo to shells, guns, different things that we like to use. And then we're also going to talk about what not to do. Everybody will tell you every tip and trick of what to do, but it's just as important to know what not to do. And trust me, if there's a mistake to be made in turkey hunting, Ben and I have done it. I promise you that.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. So, Ben, before we deep dive into all of our gear and all of our mistakes into the turkey hunting life, give us the good word.
All right, y'all, coming to you from Joshua 1, verse 19. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.
Perfect.
Spells it out right there. Guys, look, I've said it a million times. God already knows every step of our lives. He knows where we're going, He knows where we've been, and He knows where we're going to be in between. So we don't need to get caught up and worried about the things that we cannot control. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of things that we cannot control. And, sitting there worrying about it isn't going to do you any good.
No.
So you have to solely, truly, deeply trust that God has your back. He's got your best interest in mind. He's never going to lead you down a path of destruction. And, the only people that lead, or the only thing that's going to lead you down a path of destruction is you.
Mm-hmm.
You doing you and not letting God take control of your life. That is how you're going to end up in destruction, because then the devil slips in with those little thoughts or those little feelings or sayings he puts in your head, whatever. He sneaks in those little cracks. Then eventually he's got a hold of you, and might as well just run on with Jesus before the devil starts pecking away at you. And the great thing is, even when you are saved, probably even more so, the devil is going to mess with you. But you have this awesome shield around you, fortified, solid in Jesus Christ. You are put on the solid rock. That is what your foundation is. There's another verse that's talking about building your foundation on the rock or the sand. Well, what happens when you build your foundation on a pile of sand? It's going to fail every single time. It's going to crumble. It's going to shift. The waves are going to come and get it. The wind's going to topple it over. Any kind of situation is going to mess it up. But when you put your foundation on the rock of Jesus Christ, you can never fall. The devil can't pluck you from his hands. He can get you down. He can mess with you. He can bust you, but he cannot take you from the hand of Jesus. So put your focus on Jesus and realize that he already knows everything. It's even hard to comprehend, John, because my brain can't fathom what he's already gone and done and what he's doing and everything else. Like, he sees everything,
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those, you just got to have true faith, 100% faith, even when you feel like you don't deserve it. We don't.
None of us do.
We don't deserve it. So, yeah, we don't. But you have to just realize that it is a true blessing and just grace and love when God sent his only son that was 100% man and 100% God to die on the cross as an atonement for our sins. That's just love and grace, man. That's just all it is. If he'll do that for you, I promise you, he's got you.
Yes, that is the truth. It kind of, to me, all that boils down into one saying: everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
Sometimes in life you don't know what that reason is, but you just have to know that it's going to be all right because you put God first, and everything's just going to work itself out. Because listen, I'll tell you, whenever we're turkey hunting and whenever we screw up, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know why I
Mhm.
had to go through that." But then because of that lesson you learned, for example, let's say leaving too early, right? If once you do it one time, you're probably never gonna make that mistake again, and because you messed up once, now that gave you the ability to go kill 3 more birds that you weren't gonna kill because you never learned the lesson. That's just hypothetical
Correct.
numbers here, but it's you have to learn the lesson. So, uh, mistakes aren't necessarily a bad thing. They're opportunities to learn, and everything happens for a reason, and you just
Mhm.
gotta let it be.
That is correct. Yep, absolutely correct. But you just said something that struck up a memory, John.
Uh-oh.
You were
Uh-oh.
talking about that can get
Hey,
pretty
look,
western.
that can get a wild hair now. You never know with old BC.
Hey, it can. So you were talking about leaving too early, and I
Oh yeah.
have done that 150 million times. I didn't learn on the first try, John. This is like all the time I'm learning. Hey, you probably should just sit there longer because
Yeah,
I'm
never hurt.
very impatient. I'm like, let's go to that goblin bird just 1,000 yards that way. When there's one goblin sporadically 50 yards from us, but we can't see him.
Yeah.
It's like, well, do we go to the one we're talking to, or do we go to the one that is on fire?
Or do we
Well,
go back to the camp and get some biscuits?
hey, I've done that before too. I love me a good biscuit now. But the story I'm coming to here is
Yeah.
it was last year. We were down there at the old Sinking Creek Ranch and back in the Field of Dreams, one of my favorite spots in the world to turkey hunt. Um, Walking through there, we were a little bit late that morning, and old boy wore cowboy boots, and I thought, oh man, you are in
Mm-mm.
for a long day with BC
Blisters.
if you're gonna wear cowboy boots, because I am going to walk. I will walk 20 miles if it's what it takes to kill a turkey. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it every day, all day. No two ways about that. So we get to the top of the ridge in that Field of Dreams food plot where I always go. That's where I first strike off right at daylight. And, we had heard some gobbling, on the roost and whatnot out on our walk in, but man, they just went lockjaw, just
Mm.
silence. So I had that old aluminum call and I was yelping on it pretty loud just to see if I could get one to fire off, in the surrounding area. And nothing. Crickets, man.
Mm.
Crickets. We stood there for
Jeez.
5-10 minutes and I was like, let's move on. And I was like, I ain't got time to sit around and just hope one shows up. I need to get on the move. And we walked all the way back to the last of the Mohicans before you go up the mountain to the very corner of the property. Still nothing. No gobbles, no nothing. I thought, uh-oh, big
Mm.
boy might be getting whipped today. We might be meeting the whipping. I knew it was
Hey,
coming.
it happens.
Hey, I knew it was coming. I had a feeling it was coming because we had been on a hot streak for 2 years. And I said, boy, we're gonna mess around and somebody ain't gonna kill turkey for too long. I know how this goes. Crazy enough though, we're walking back, we get to the graveyard field, and we hear a gobble right where we were standing. Right there, John. I mean,
He was coming to you.
he was standing 10 foot from where I called from.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we had to do, it was really kind of wild because I was not prepared for that. I have a camera, a tripod, and a ghillie suit, and my big old fat hairy self, thinking, how in the world we gonna slip up on this dude? He's in a wide open field. We're in a wide open road, and he just ain't seen us yet. I mean,
Right.
we were literally on that road in between the graveyard field and the Field of Dreams. So, and
Oh
he was
wow.
up on the high side of it, the high part of the hill. So I thought, boy, this ain't good.
Mm-mm.
So he went full strut and turned his back to us with that fan up. And I said, now, get in the ditch right now. And so we got in the ditch and he propped up on a tree. And dude, you should have seen me. I was hanging out the side of this tree with a tripod and a camera and a ghillie suit, trying my dangest not to get busted and to get it on film too. And lo and behold, he just couldn't handle the calls. He was like, "Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Ooh." And man, we just sweet talked that old boy. He went from 200 yards to 15 steps.
Yeah.
And he got that head rung with some TSS. But, that was one of those situations where if I would have just been patient and maybe sat there for 20 or 30 minutes instead
Yeah.
of being like, boom, let's move, let's move, let's move, let's go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Maybe if I would have just sat there, maybe we would have had better odds of killing that bird real quick instead of, trying to,
Yep.
move on to something else. And you remember that last hunt we did, not last, or maybe it was last year or the year before, one of the two. We were at the ranch hunting across the road trying to get those birds over there.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, I feel like that we moved a little too soon, and it was my call. It was my problem. When we went to the left hand side and went up the mountain there,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like he was coming, and we got up and moved too soon because I thought, well, if we ease on down, maybe we can cut him off. And I think that bird was coming to us thinking back about it, but
Yeah.
man,
And
it's
you
just,
never
it's
really
tough.
know, and the other thing is like unless you have a cell cam or something, like you're never gonna truly know. But I've had that happen before, man. I leave and then an hour later I get a ding on the phone and there's a turkey strutting where I was calling. I mean, it just happens, and it's like,
Yeah.
look, when in doubt, sit it out, and
Mm-hmm.
you cannot kill them on the couch. I promise you that. So,
Nope.
if they're not talking, if they're not cooperating, sometimes you just gotta quote unquote deer hunt them
Yeah.
and make it work. But you know, it's not the most ideal thing in the world if you're really, really wanting to for that turkey to put on a show. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can get lucky, like in your case, there was a ditch to hide into, and he ended up wanting to play the game, so
Yeah.
it ended up working out. But I've definitely just straight up left and like went home left
Yeah.
and then had a bird in there. It only needs to happen a couple times really, and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna stay out here. I'm just gonna figure it out.
Yeah. No
But
doubt, man.
a lot of times though, patience kills more birds than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really does. And
I
that
would
can
have
come
to
in
agree.
a lot of forms, right? That can come in staying there. It can also come in the world of calling because you can
Mm-hmm.
definitely overcall if you get impatient and you think, man, he's hammering every call. I'm just gonna keep on calling. I'm gonna call louder, more often. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'd do that if I were you. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
more oftentimes than not, really, you can definitely overcall, and that can get hairy quick because you know, my kind of rule of thumb, again, this is just a baseline. Every
Mm-hmm.
situation is different. You have to check the temperature of that bird.
Yep.
But to me, if he's coming, hush.
Mm-hmm.
You've already got him. He's coming.
Yeah.
Baseline. This is totally, I'm just talking generalities here. If he's coming and you see him, quite literally see him coming, just be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how I feel.
Well, I agree with you 110% on that because I have called too much more than once. But what's crazy? The other morning I was sitting out filming turkeys just for funsies, and this hen would not shut up.
Yep,
She
it happens.
yelped
Yep.
all morning long for 3 hours straight. I was like, "Girl, you gonna be able to? Your bronchial tubes are closing up. Like your voice box is gonna quit."
How much more air you got in there,
I
girl?
mean, dude, she was cutting everything. There's two hens got in a fight, doing a fighting purr, and of course they're in the bushes where I can't freaking see them. So I was
Love.
like,
Yep.
oh man. And then they squirreled around behind me and started feeding right behind. I mean, John, 30 yards. I could have swanked that old long beard. And I'm sitting there up against this tree like, here I am in the wide open. Yay.
Hey.
And I look over to my right and I thought, uh-oh, I'm busted. They never busted me. I was
Wow.
able, so I waited until they all turned away and put their heads down, and I just laid down. just laid down. I had my camera off. I just laid down, and I was trying to get a picture of them, but
Hmm.
they were so I only had one little window to look through, and he would stand in it for about 2 seconds, and then gone again.
Yep.
So anyway, they ended up coming back around in front of me in the field, and man, I'm telling you, that hen would not stop. Like she talked the whole entire set that I was there.
Yeah.
I mean,
It does
it
happen.
it was unbelievable. I was like, okay, so it's okay for her to do it,
Yeah.
but when I go out there and call, they're like, oh no, that's not real.
Yeah.
That's not a
Exactly.
normal thing. Why is this hen talking so much? And then they go the other way. But I guess a wild one, they just, have the first right of refusal. They can do whatever they want.
Well, and I'm sure it's like humans. They're like, oh, that's just Chatty Cathy over there. She's always like that. That girl never shuts up. That's just how she is. You just
Yeah.
gotta. It is what it is, fellas. And
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I've been on some hunts where it's like it don't matter. It don't matter what I do. I could slam two sticks together and that turkey's coming to me. Like
Yep.
there's just some hunts where it's like you can't overcall, undercall. You can't. You literally can't screw it up. The turkey's
Yep.
coming regardless. I've had that happen, and it's
Mm-hmm.
super fun when that happens. Because this is
Yeah.
the best thing about turkey hunting. There are zero, zero absolutes in turkey hunting. No one can say you will overcall 100% of the time. Nope, not
Nope.
true. That's not what
Not
I'm
true
saying
at
at
all.
all. I'm just saying baseline kind of knowledge here is most
Mm-hmm.
of the time you do not want to overcall.
Yeah.
But there are definitely times where you could have four collars going and it won't matter to one turkey.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's going to be another turkey. So this is a perfect example. Me and my dad are hunting this field, and I know these birds. So literally, dude, uh, I I called. It was midday. It was like 11:30. I called. He hammered. I was like, sweet, dude, here we go. And then I waited like just a few minutes. Called one more time. They both hammered again, and I just shut up. And not even 5 minutes later, they were right in our lap and kapowie. So, I've had hunts like that, and then I've had the complete opposite of where you just like I said, smack two sticks together and here he comes. So, it's definitely just a whirlwind for sure. But just rule of thumb basics, I would definitely try to not overcall if I had a choice there to tell somebody. But there's a lot more that goes into all this. We talked about not leaving early, not overcalling, but you can call perfect and you can be there, but if you ain't hiding well enough, it's really
Mm.
not gonna matter.
So I got a fun fact for you for the turkey eyes. Turkeys can see better than humans. They can see further, sharper, and they can see color spectrums that we cannot see. So what you wash your clothes in, your laundry detergent, they can see it. Stands out like a sore thumb.
Yep.
And also they have a 270-degree field of view. So
Yes.
they can not only see you, but they can see you very well and from a long way. So what do you do to dive in and get concealed really quick on a turkey? Well, John, when you're talking about the normal turkey hunt where we don't have camera gear, what do?
Yeah.
I go in and I find the thickest spot closer to that turkey than as close as I can get as possible. What I really love is a good cedar tree. Love it. You can disappear in a cedar tree really fast.
Real
But some
quick.
places don't have cedar trees. So, man, I've even got behind a log before, like a fallen tree, just, laid down behind it and or crouched down or sat down, just had my gun barrel propped up on the log.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that before. I've also went in and used the ghillie suit. I've done that before too. And when you start filming stuff, you start adding a whole other element of, well, we got to hide, but we also have to be able to see the birds in the camera view. So
Yep.
we don't want to fight autofocus all morning, and we really don't want to have to do, the manual focus if we don't have to. But if we have to, that's okay. We can do that. It's just extra movements. So see, like the turkeys can see you doing this. They can see that. They can see it very well. So you have to be able to set yourself up in a position to where they are not going to spot you, even if they're 2 steps in front of you. And one of the keys to that is to be still, sit still. And I have a real problem with that because I'm fidgety, man. I got to move all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Turkeys, gosh dang, dude, they're the best eyes in the game, man.
Oh yeah.
And you touched on this, the sharpness, the field of view. They could see better than 20/20 vision. Their color spectrum, all this. So it's like you have to be on your game. There's a couple things that you can do, right? So let's say you're running and gunning. The biggest thing is backdrop. Try to find a tree or trees, or you can find a big wide thick bush, right? Something to kind of try to lean up against that's going to cover you. What I like, if I can, I really like to try and find a tree with big overhanging limbs that I could tuck in, and it's kind of over me, because then it has a shadow, and then, dude, I really hide. That's what I like to try to do. And then, of course, there's always the blind setup. If you have a spot that turkeys come to, and then you could put up a blind, put it up early. Okay. And then turkeys can get used to it. Kind of the same concept with deer. Even if you're calling them into you, at least they can be kind of used to that thing being there. So couple different things there, but yeah, your hide, so to speak, that has to be on point, because them turkeys can see like no other.
Oh, they can. And I've got a couple more things to mention here. You just said something that sparked my memory. So you're talking about being in the shade a little bit in the shadows.
Yeah.
Dude, if you can find or figure out what part of the field the sun's coming up on, get on the opposite side. And then you're in the shade and the sun's in the turkey's eyes. And you are more suited to be hidden in the shade than you are in the wide open sunlight. And another thing, cover your face and your hands, gloves, mask, face paint, whatever. I use the old cork method, that's what I use. The old burning the wine cork. I like that. But I just don't like the way a mask feels with my beard. It's weird. I don't know what it is about it. It's just weird. And, I can't spit tobacco or none of that. So I just soon put on a little, my little makeup mask, if you want to call it that, just a burning old charcoal mask. That's what it is. Old charcoal mask. So, but you got to conceal yourself as much as possible. And another thing that you touched on, clusters of trees. Clusters of trees can be the difference in killing those turkeys and not. And here's a good story for that. So I had some guys down at Sinking Creek Ranch, and one of them had just missed, and I felt bad for him. I was like, dude, I've done it. I have been there, done that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have done it. So we come back down the mountain and we get to right there where the road crosses into the Field of Dreams from the lodge side. And I struck off a column before I could get even done with the yelp. I was like, uh-oh. I mean, they were close. A pair of them were real close, within 100 yards. I said, sit down right now, right here. I had to go around behind them. I didn't even have enough time to sit down. I had to I just leaned up against a cluster of 3 trees with my mouth call, and I had my hands in my pockets, and I was just, yeah. And they sure enough laid the smack down on them. Well, one of them did. The other guy missed again, but we'll talk about that later. I cut him off after that one. I was like, no more. You done. You shot it too. That's good. We're not going to cripple any more turkeys. But anyway, it was just, sometimes you just got to adapt and overcome really quickly, depending on the situation. And the way you said that, the cluster of trees, just whatever to break you up, dude. I set them on little saplings that may have been that big, but there was like
Yeah.
10 of them right there all together. It was real thick in front of them. I said, sit down, be quiet, don't move, get ready, put your gun on your knee. Those birds are coming. I'm
Yes.
telling you. I called once, they cut the distance already. So be ready to kill these birds because they are coming.
Yep.
And sure enough, 15 steps in front of them, there they were. And, so it is a lot. I would say 90% of a successful turkey hunt starts with your hide and concealment.
And
it just does.
Yes. And look, there's a few things I want to touch on here, but the first thing is this. When you're going into an area, before you call, you need to have a decent idea of where you want to sit down. Because if that situation happens, just like Ben just said, you call and boom, here it's coming like now. You need to have at least an outline of a plan to go, that looks kind of like something, or maybe over here. Because if you're not ready, it can really hurt you because those turkeys can bust you. So again, it depends on which direction and where he's coming from and all this, but you need to kind of have a lay of the land and have a decent idea of where you want to kind of boot scoot and boogie to before you try to locate a turkey. The other thing I wanted to touch on, Ben, you were talking about figuring out which side the sun comes up on. Now, for all the famous commenters on all of our stuff, of course we know it rises in the east. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about figuring out which side is east in the field you're hunting. We know it rises in the east. I can already see the comments.
Oh,
man.
I can too.
I can already see.
Yeah, I can too. They're like, oh man, these goons don't even know what way the sun rises. What?
It's like I get that. We're figuring out, find out which way's east, and then figure out what Ben was saying. So, but to that point, the sun coming up behind you, right, is the shadow cast, and then it covers you. So I really did like that. But one other thing that you said that I think is important, and I think it's a mistake that's easily avoidable, but I say that I've done it. You told them boys to have the shotgun ready on their knee and up. A lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, do not do that. And you really need to have your gun ready as best as you can, because, and ask me how I know, it's really hard to grab the gun that's on the ground, bring it up, shoot, and hit, and have the turkey not see you or not care or whatever. It's tough. So the more you can do to be ready and less movement, and then also it kind of gives you a moment to put the gun on your shoulder and just visualize it, look down it, breathe a little bit, catch your breath, whatever. Because it's a really exciting time when a turkey's gobbling and just coming at you. So, but that's one thing I would say. Get your gun ready. That's going to help you kill more birds.
Absolutely. What's that saying you use about being prepared?
You mean, is it help future you?
Yeah, help future you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just be prepared.
Yeah, it's literally whatever you can do today to help future you should do that. And that is also whatever you can do this minute to help 5 minute from you now, like 5 minute from now, do that, because any little thing that you can do. Is, I'm telling you, if there's a mistake to be made, we sure enough have made it. I want to say this too about calling. There is over calling, right, which we touched on. There's also the volume of calling. So maybe you're crushing it on the amount of calls, right? But you call, bird gobbles 200 yards away, and then cutting the distance. You're probably in most situations going to want to get softer in your calling. Because if you're still screaming at him like you were screaming at him at 200 yards, he may not like that sometimes. So I've kind of noticed the closer that the turkey gets,
Mm-hmm.
then I tone my calling down volume wise, and even turn my head and put my mouth up and kind of direct where I want the sound to go, because that does a couple things. One, it's softer, but if you can make it sound like you're the hen walking away, and then he's got to get past you basically to get to this hen. Of course, he
Mm-hmm.
won't get past you. That's also a kind of a good tactic. So it's not over calling, but it's also not calling too loud in close situations.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% there. You know, what you just said sparked another memory. So when you talked about, turning and sounding like you're the hen's
Yeah.
walking away,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
here's a little calling tip that you can also do if you have a bird that's hung up that you just can't get to move and they're in a strut zone or whatever. Wait until, especially if there's two of you,
Mm-hmm.
wait until he turns his back to you, fan up, get up and go and walk 30 yards, call.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Walk 50 yards, call. Walk 100 yards, call. Sometimes it will make it happen. They will be like, oh no, she's leaving. I better go check that out real quick. And by the time he tries to get where you are, he's already got his head knocked off by your buddy that's sitting there waiting on him.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep.
is a valuable tool that I keep in my tool shed all the time during the turkey season is, um, you know, just that. Just
Yeah.
knowing that
Exactly.
sometimes if you just get up and walk away, now you have to be very mindful of the situation. And, obviously you don't get up in the middle of an open field and walk away. That's when you do what you're talking about and just turn your head and direct the
Yeah.
sound away from you and away from the bird. But sometimes in the timber, in the big heavy timber stands,
Yeah. You can get
I've
away with it.
I have gotten up and walked away, and that was the difference in killing a bird or not.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's just all situational. Everything is situational. You just have to uh, you know, analyze it play by play pretty much. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot like a football game, or chess. You have to really analyze each play and know, okay, well, he's acting like this right now. So maybe
Yeah.
I should move over, segue this way or that way, or maybe I should try a different
Yeah.
call that has a different tone, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe I should try to throw a Jake gobble at him, really fire him up.
It's all about staying one step ahead, kind of like you're talking about. It's
Mm-hmm.
playing chess,
Yep.
because if you're playing from behind, it's gonna be tough.
Oh, it's always tough to catch up because
Yo,
they are smart and they move fast, buddy.
yep, they
They
will
move
leave you
fast.
in the dust.
Yes, they will.
I've had
Yep.
it happen.
Same here. Buddy, I've had more turkeys walk away from me than I've killed. I can
Oh
promise you
yeah,
that.
it's just life. Look, you are
Yep.
in there. At the end of the day, they live there all the time, and you don't. So they know way more than you will ever know, and that's just kind of part of it. But again, if you know these little nuggets of what not to do, that
Mm-hmm.
can make you more successful in the field.
Yeah, so I got another story for you here. This was many moons ago in the great state of Alabama over on the west side, close to Mississippi. I was hunting with Blake Dowell and Cole Thomas. And man, we were hunting hard. This is when I really first started filming. They gave me my first opportunity to film and it was awesome. I did a horrible job filming because I was just, not very good at it. At the time, I've had to learn a lot and we were riding around on this electric golf cart, which you have, which we were going to utilize if you can get them batteries squared away.
I know it.
But we were riding around and we heard this bird, and buddy, he was standing on the highest part of a clear cut, right in the middle of the clear cut, just
Mm.
standing up there strutting back and forth, back and forth. So we ended up slipping in. There was some timber standing right by the road that went into that clear cut,
Mm.
and we positioned ourselves right there. And Blake and Cole went to calling, and here he comes. I mean, dude, he just dropped strut and just coming. I was like, oh, dang, this is getting real. Like, this is getting real, and this happening fast. So he's coming. I'm like trying to get the video camera on him, and Blake was like, kill him. I was like, I can't see him. So there's an embankment right here and he's on the road, so I can't see his head. And then he's like, you don't see him? And I looked again, and I just saw the white on top of that head. And I was like, oh, there he is. Boom, baby. I rolled that rascal. He didn't even flinch. He was maybe 5 yards. Boy, we let him have it. And you want to know the crazy thing about that turkey? He didn't have a lick of spurs. None. Nothing.
That does happen.
Not even a bump like a Jake. Slick, scaly legs. Nothing. But it was a gobbler. He had a full beard, full fan, big old vibrant red and blue and white head, and just no spurs, man. It was pretty wild. I've never seen one before that had no spurs on him. But that just goes to show you we've been hunting all morning with some of the best turkey hunters in the state of Alabama, and even then it's tough sometimes. We hunted hard. We hunted hard, and that one just so happened to want to play ball. Sometimes you just got to keep going, and eventually you're going to run across one that wants to play ball.
Yep. And look, I kind of talked about this in the very beginning here. Just as important, okay, as knowing what not to do, okay, you need to also know what to have with you. So kind of the gear we like to take, okay, if you don't have, and I'm not saying you need the most expensive gear, but if you don't have halfway decent gear that you know how to use and what's going on, that can also be tough on you. So, for example, one of the things that I like to do is bring multiple surfaced turkey calls. Okay, For example, I have aluminum, slate, ceramic, crystal. Okay, and then I have different types of strikers. I have aluminum strikers. I have wooden strikers. I've got there's cedar, and there's I think Purple Heart maybe. I've got a few different, and it's like you don't need to bring 17 calls with you, but you need to bring 2 or 3 and a couple of different strikers because, and Ben touched on this, just slight different pitches. Okay, because one day you're going to wake up and that turkey's going to love that slate call. You can't screw up with it. And then you're going to go back there and think you have it all figured out. And you're like, I got this. This slate call right here. Here we go. And he ain't going to talk a peep. And then in that situation, you go, you know what? I've got this ceramic call here. Let's just try it. And you yelp on that thing and boom, he fires off. I've had it happen. Sometimes they just like different pitches for a variety of reasons, especially on public land. If everybody in your town or whatever is running a slate call, try an aluminum. Maybe the turkey hasn't heard that yet, and he's like, "Oh, hey, that's different." Okay, cool. So that's one of the things as far as gear wise that I like is different calls. That way I can get different pitches. Same thing with mouth calls. If I can have 2 or 3, 4 different cuts, that way I can get a little different variations. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, same here. I usually carry 3 mouth calls with me with different cuts, and I'll take 2 to 3 pot calls with me. 1 aluminum, 1 ceramic, and 1 slate. Yep. And sometimes I'll switch the ceramic out for glass if I know it's not going to rain. I just like to change it up and always be, like you said earlier, 1 step ahead. I like to have my tools ready to roll at any given time.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, what do you like? Okay, we're talking about gear here now. Okay, we've got all these calls. Everybody knows about a turkey vest, but it's like, what are you looking for in a turkey vest? So, for example, the slimmer the better for me. If I can have less going on, that's what I like, and I like to know exactly where everything is. I like magnetic pockets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like zipper. I can do zipper but I really prefer magnet. I don't like Velcro. Too noisy. Too little things that I've learned that I've liked is the magnetic pocket kind of clip, and I like when my strikers go up and down, not side to side. Every vest I've had that the striker goes in sideways, they usually always fall out.
Mm-hmm. So
So
there's three things that I look for in a good turkey vest, John. Number one, is there a pocket big enough for a honey bun and a star crunch?
usually yes, but
Number
yes, I
two,
agree.
is there a spot for a box call that I can put my soda in? Number three, how comfortable is the butt pad?
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, because if you got to sit there for a long time, it's like the other morning when I went out filming those turkeys. Dude, I didn't even bring a pad, and my leg was so dead asleep I couldn't move my toes.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I was like, well, we're here now, and these birds are in front of us, so we're just gonna have to film until they walk off, and then we can move. And dude, I had to lay back, stretch my leg out, and be able to get the blood flow back to my toes. Because, buddy, I couldn't feel nothing. If I'd have tried to stand up, I'd have fell flat on my face. I mean, I couldn't feel nothing from my knee to my toes. Nothing.
Yeah, that's
Dead
not good.
leg.
Yeah, I am all about a nice pad. Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been, I've got this, and I've had multiple different kinds of vests, but like the last year I ran this Sitka vest, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's a nice slim vest. That's the thing I like about it. To me, my straps, I like narrower, not
Mm-hmm.
totally narrow, but I don't like big wide straps.
No, I don't either.
I like narrow. Shoom, we need to go. Look, I already weigh enough. I don't need more weight to put on my back. Okay,
No doubt.
I weigh plenty. I do that just fine on my own. I don't need any extra. So the least I can take. Now, look, I will say I like to take about 12 fluid ounces of chocolate milk with me every morning. Okay, that's so I gotta add that in there. But other than that, hey, it'll be all right. And but look, on the way back out, if I'm 18 to 22 pounds heavier, I'm okay with that. That's all
Yeah.
right. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
all in on that.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. There's just a couple little nitpicky things that I like.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're talking about the gear that we run, so that's what I like. And
Now I have to agree with all the points that you said too. I
yeah,
look at all that stuff too, and I like everything you do, but those are just my main concerns: is food,
yes,
Coca-Cola, and a
butt
butt
pad.
pad.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
that's
hey,
my concern.
I get it. And look, you need to find what works best for you.
Yes, find what works best for you, what feels right to you, what you can move the stealthiest in.
And I'll tell you this: one of the best things that you can do is try on the vest, like literally in the store. Just try it on and just literally sit down in it, do all the movements, and see how it feels. Act like you're walking up a trail. Like try it out. It's like test driving a car. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
concept. So
Yeah.
but as far as a vest goes, that's what I like. Um, we can deep dive into maybe a different type of gear, Ben, if you're interested. Maybe camo or clothing, I'll say.
Maybe we do a whole nother episode on the continuation of turkey gear,
Yeah, hey,
because
we
I
could
can
do that.
talk another hour about this stuff.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Maybe we just leave it at that. We did leave a lot of meat on the bone. I
Yep.
kind of figured talking about mistakes was going to go long because I've made a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, me too.
You know,
I've made a lot of them, but let's circle back and talk more in depth about some other gear down to boots, guns, ammo, all that stuff,
that sounds like a plan.
and a different episode so we can really dive into it and talk about it well.
That sounds like a plan. Well, I will tell you this, man. It is okay to make a mistake. Everything happens for a reason, just like we talked
Absolutely.
about in the very beginning. It's
Mm-hmm.
all going to be all right. So, you know, lessons have to be learned. So don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as an opportunity to learn. And hopefully, this podcast episode really kind of cut the learning curve for some of y'all. And hopefully, you don't have to learn it the hard way like I did whenever I'm sitting there crawling in a field, looking at this turkey, and I'm waiting for him. I lose sight of him. And I finally, he must have left. I set my gun down. And then as soon as I set my gun down, the turkey popped up, and then he saw me move to get my gun. So, yeah, hopefully you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to learn that way. Hopefully
Yeah.
you just listen to me and keep your darn gun up, because trust me, I've had it happen. It's not fun,
Not at
but
all.
it's part of it. So,
Yep.
anyway, that's
With
all I've
that,
got to
well,
say about
hey,
that.
with that, the redneck is out.
See y'all.